Greetings programs, welcome back to the Game Grid. You're back with Game and Magic Mark. It's Baldur's Gate 3, and in this video I wanted to take a look at my build that I've affectionately called the Terminator build, because, well, there you go, the armor sort of reminds me a little bit of Terminator. There's lots of things that Kurz, our hireling fighter here, is going to be, well, he's respect, but is going to be reminding us of as a Terminator. If he goes down, he sort of slowly gets back up, gets back in the fight. He's going to be punishing enemies on the battlefield for you. Now, the way that I've built him is 11 levels into Battlemaster Fighter, and 1 level into Cleric of War Domain. Good reason for that. You could actually go for 12 levels of Battlemaster Fighter. It's that good as a subclass. You wouldn't be causing mischief for yourself if you did go that route. I do like the fact that I have some extra little interesting options that feed into that Terminator style, which is, for example, Sanctuary, and also the fact that he can get back up with a particular magic item. So between being a half-orc, he gets something called Relentless Endurance. When he's reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you drop to 1 hit point instead. I've also got a ring. If we just take a quick look, I'll show you what I mean. Our ring here of regeneration. If you can get hold of that, even better, because that's going to, if you go down, the next turn, you're going to activate and come back with 1 to 4 hit points, as long as you haven't been finished off the previous turn, completely made dead, shall we say, by enemies. Okay, so let me show you how I build this Terminator, and then we can work out what he can actually do. So let's just, of course, it's going to do this now. Off we go. Let's try again. And basically, we're just going to respec. All right. So let's see how we build this Terminator class. So I'm going to take Fighter literally right to level 11, but of course that's to get our 3rd attack. But also just bear in mind that the 1 level of Cleric, you should bring that in whenever you would like. I think earlier on it's actually really useful from the point of view of Sanctuary, and it also gives you the potential bonus attack that you might not get until later levels. So you're kind of augmenting your ability to attack multiple times in a turn, even before you get it. So you might want to do it fairly early on, maybe Fighter 1, Cleric 1. I'm going to do it last thing, just to emphasize the point that actually if you didn't go into Cleric, wouldn't be a problem. Okay, so I highly recommend Half-Orc because of the fact that they get that relentless endurance. They also get something called Savage Attacks. And Savage Attacks is going to add damage dice onto their critical hit with a melee weapon attack. That really works well with this build, of course, and that means that we're effectively getting ×3 instead of ×2 with a critical hit. Kind of like that. That's how it works in a way. Okay, the fighting style. I'm going to go with great weapon fighting, because that just, again, fits into, this kind of beast, hulking Terminator thing walking across, smashing enemies and causing maximum, worry on the battlefield for your enemies. Let's look at the abilities. I think standard with fighters is to make sure that your strength is either 16 or 17. Dexterity can drop as low as 12. I think 14 is okay. Look, we're going to be wearing heavy armor, so the dexterity is going to help other things, dexterity checks and things like that. But constitution would be something that we would emphasize. Intelligence and charisma we could drop right down, and wisdom maybe we want to keep there just in case for certain saves, for example. We are going to get a skill later on called Indomitable, which also helps us with saving rolls. And so, maybe, wisdom of 10 is fine, but see how you feel about that. Okay, skill proficiencies. I like athletics and acrobatics on a fighter. Your mileage may vary. Choose whichever one you want. Okay, let's go and let's do level 2. And as I say, at this point, I might be thinking, if I'm running through it from early start in the game, I might be thinking about War Cleric at this point now, but I'm just going to keep going with the fighter. So this is where we get our action surge, key part of proceedings, but I don't build that into the 4 attacks a turn. I want 4 attacks a turn, whether I'm hasted, whether I've got action surge available to me or not. And so that's very cool. It's going to help us in our early game and late game. It's going to be useful, but I'm not factoring it in to the fact that this is a beast of a build. All right, Subclass is obviously Battle Master. We're sticking with Battle Master. We're getting our maneuvers. We're getting superiority dice. They start out at D8s. You have 4 of them. You're going to get more of them. Also, maneuver. And the maneuvers that I recommend that you think about taking, some of the best ones are, for example, disarming attack. If you've had that happen to you, if you've played through already, you're in Act 2, Act 3, you're going to have disarming attacks happening to you, highly irritating. And it's great for, rendering certain enemies that rely on their weapons just out of the game almost. Riposte is also a fantastic one. And, your third one, it's up to you. I think trip attack is great. I really like feinting attack. Goading attack is awesome. Precision attack is also very, very cool because you can add a superiority die to add it to the result of an attack roll. So you're going to be making sure that certain attacks are definitely going to get through. Pushing attack is self-explanatory, and sweeping attack also adds some very, very good capabilities. But of course, early days, you just want to decide what makes the most sense for you. I think for me, disarming attack, riposte, and potentially maybe goading attack, so that I can act as the role of a sort of tank. I can, make the most critical enemies focus on me. I think I'll go with that, and then later on bring on certain other, maneuvers. Fighter level 4, we get our feat, our first feat. And this is where we want to think about certain feats, but I think Great Weapon Master to get the damage coming in and the possibility of proccing that extra bonus attack early doors. So you start to get multiple attacks, even from level 4. Okay, so we're going to go with that. And that's also going to, up the damage from our heavy weapon that we're employing. Level 5, we get our extra attack. Fantastic. Okay, nothing more needs to be said about that. Level 6, this is where we get another feat. And of course, fighters get the extra feat. That's at level 6, so we're going to go with that. And of course, this is where we want to think about upping our strength, okay, because we want to get that up to 20 as soon as we can, really. Yes, there are items in the game, there's elixirs and things like that, but I don't think you want to rely on those as a fighter. You want to make sure that you're natively a certain, 20 naturally as possible, and higher if you can get it in Act 2s and Act 3s. Okay, so the way that we're going to do that, maybe what we do here is we think about, for example, a skill like Alert. Alert is a fantastic feat, by the way. You gain +5 bonus to initiative and can't be surprised. Highly likely you're going to be first in combat, and also not only that, there's certain situations you get into where you're going to be surprised coming out of maybe a cutscene or whatever, and that means that you can't be surprised. You get to go first. You get a whole round to yourself. No one else can move in your team, and so that's very, very important. Also, you might want to think about Heavy Armor Master. This is actually quite good at this level, I think, because it means that you're going to start to get a lot less damage coming in. That's also mitigating the damage, but we also get strength +1. So we get it up to 18. That makes it right for the next feat, jumping up to 20 with that. Okay, so I'm going to go with that. All right, level 7. Okay, so we get another superiority dice. They also become they become D10s at fighter level 10. More maneuvers, and this is where you start to fill out your abilities. Sweeping attack. I think at this level you start to fight 2 and 3 enemies much more commonly that actually are significantly deadly. So you might want to think about that. And then also, for example, rally. If you want to potentially improve your combat teammates around you, you could use that. Feinting attack is very good too. So I'd go sweeping attack and feinting attack. I don't go trip attack, although I think that that's an important one. I am going to pick it before we finish, but I'll just leave it for now. But I would be prioritizing that soon as well. I think that trip attack and disarming attack kind of don't necessarily work well together, but you might disagree with that, but I think that you pick one and then later on you bring the other one online. The next feat, we've got to bring our strength up to 20. So it says 19 there, but we're going to have 20 after the Heavy Armor Master applies when we go through. So it should be up to 20 when we come out of the level ups. Fighter level 9, we get Indomitable. That's an awesome ability. We become almost like we say Terminator-like. where we're getting things thrown at us, spells and whatnot. Whenever we have to make a saving throw, we can roll again using the new result again if we fail. So we've just got 2 chances at not getting a bad thing happen to us. And that's great. That's awesome. I'll take that any day of the week. Another maneuver. Okay, and so this is where I would definitely get trip attack. I'll think about that. I'd also think about some of the others, but I like certainly I like rally at this point. You may think, well, commander strike sounds good. I just wonder whether, I like it too, but I just wonder whether how many times I actually use it. So again, you might want to think about others, but precision attack is great. I definitely want trip attack, so I'm going to go those 2. Pushing attack, rally, they're all great, honestly. Okay, at fighter level 11, we get our 3rd attack. Fantastic. It's improved extra attack, and now we're good to go. Okay, so we just need our final level. And again, you could go 12, but I'm going to go into Cleric. I'm going to choose the War Domain. This gives me a couple of things, Divine Favor and also Shield of Faith. They can be very useful. You don't want things with concentration, really, but hey, why not? You've got high enough constitution, maybe it's going to be no problem. And then War Priest, when you make an unarmed or weapon attack, you can spend a War Priest charge to make an additional attack as a bonus action. That's why I'm getting it, but also because of Sanctuary. So I'm going to pick some cantrips. I think having another person in your party with guidance is always great, and whatever else works for you. Deity, whatever thematically works for you. And because our wisdom is so low, we're only getting 1 prepared spell, but we can switch them out as we need them. I'm going to go with Sanctuary just because it fits the build so well. I love that spell, by the way, but others may say, nah, bless, you'll be using it all the time, and so forth. So let's look at our build here, and then we can just try them out. And so let's just take stock of what we have. So firstly, I just want to make mention of the fact that I've got this brutal leap boots, or at least the boots that give that capability. Let's just take a look at that. Just because they are a great way of getting into combat, you can send your enemy prone. It's also why I wasn't so worried about trip attack at that, trip maneuver as part of that choice early on. I'll come back to the items in just a minute. I'm just going to get rid of my cantrips that are really, we're going to use them at the time of, that they are useful. So, in a cutscene or in a skill check or something like that, that's when they're going to become useful. I do think we could lean on Shield of Faith if there's just some reason that we need to up our AC temporarily. Great thing about Sanctuary, we're going to pop that when we don't want reprisals against us. Especially things like opportunity attack situations. You won't get opportunity attacks if you've got Sanctuary on yourself. So it's a great way of spending a bonus action to give yourself a bit of extra survivability. Also take notice of the hit points. 111 hit points. That's massive, without assistance from pretty much anywhere else. I've got my goading attack. I've got my sweeping attack. I've got my trip attack. I've got my fainting attack. I've got my disarming attack. Got all the different attacks. I've also got the precision attack when I need to be absolutely sure that attack's going to hit. I've also got my healing, and that's another thing too. And then I got some ranged versions of what we spoke about there. And of course I got the action surge. Now let's just go pick a fight and see how we can do. And just before I do that, I think you might just be interested in seeing some of the items that I've picked, the magic items. So again, there's lots of other magic items that might be work for you. Like, for example, there's a 21 AC, I think it's a legendary heavy armor. You may want to use that instead of Reaper's Embrace. The great thing about Reaper's Embrace, good chance you get it Act 2, going into Act 3. So you might have a whole Act 3 to use it. I love those bone spike boots. I think you can get those fairly early as well. Not sure about that. Saravok's horned helmet is definitely Act 3. Cloak of Displacement, I think, is fairly early. Blackguard Gauntlets is very, very nice as well. And Surgeon's Subjugation Amulet comes from Act 2. That allows you, when we score a critical hit, where it can paralyze the target for 2 turns. That comes into play a lot more often than you would think. as I say, one of the stars of the show is the Ring of Regeneration, and another one is Killer's Sweetheart. Fantastic that when you kill a creature, your next attack roll will be a critical hit. Once spent, this effect refreshes after long. If you think about it, you guarantee a critical hit, and also you've got a Surge and Subjugation Amulet to allow you a paralyzing critical on maybe the most dangerous enemy that you have. And so think about that. That's the other thing as well, is that, we want to guarantee criticals as much as possible. So if you've got any other ways that you can do that, through skills or other party members, that kind of thing, you want to kind of lean on that wherever you can. And I think, what I'm getting at there is, of course, the illithid powers. Okay. So I haven't used any, and I'm not saying that you would have to, but there is an illithid power that actually gives you a critical at your choosing, at the time of your choosing. So as almost as a reaction. So you want to think about that as something that you want to do as well. Let's pick that fight and see what happens. Right? Let's go with fainting attack. So we strike at advantage. And of course, now she's not happy, and we're not getting away with that one. So now we're in combat. Okay, just going to roll through some of these others. For some reason, we've got some help here. Teammates kind of weighing in on our side here, even though I clearly did something not very nice. And yeah, in a moment, we'll be able to see some of the options that we have, and maybe how many attacks that we get. What I love about this is more the fact that we are so resilient. So you're not going to be some, a melee character that's going to be needing to be up to all the, brought back from a down condition all the time. There are certain builds that dish out massive damage, but they're paper thin, literally glass cannons. This is not one of those. And so here we go. We've got, before we use Action Surge, we've got the ability to, I think what we haven't got our attack there, our actions because of that, but we do have our second and third action. So here's where I would want to go with either trip attack or disarming attack. Let's do that. That, very nice. There we go. Weapon dropped. So crucial that. I love that. It just sets us up for a win, straight away with that. And of course, then I can do things like, cleave. If I have the great sword, I even have the sweeping attack, so I could kind of do that and damage both of them. And then we can also action surge. Because we haven't got our bonus action, I haven't been able to make another attack. That would have used the War Priest's extra attack charge, but I can still go ahead and maybe trip attack on her as well. And of course it misses, but let's just go ahead and do that. There we go. Okay, finished her off. All right, so there we go. There's my build for you. Pretty much fight is over, and now everyone's going to kind of get temporarily hostile because I've been doing naughty things here. Here's just, actually it's great that it's showing us this Halcyon cast hold person. We would normally have failed that, but let's put Indomitable into play. Okay, it didn't work for us here, but at least we got another chance at the saving throw. So I think this is a great build. I hope you like it. It definitely works for me as much as it's a fantastic build to be your main sort of party tank. And I think, in line with the theme of it being like a Terminator, you can kit it out with the armor and stuff that I, the helmet that I got for him. But, your mileage may vary. Do get whatever works for you. And of course, there's lots of other magic items that would work in a pinch for it. But I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it's useful to you. I do think that the Fighter Battlemaster subclass is so powerful all on its own there. So, whatever works for you, that's great. I just like the Cleric 1 level dip. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you next time.